Everyone, so we are back with our new novel summary named as The Dark Holes No Terrors by Shashi Deshpande. It's a very important and beautifully written novel by Shashi Deshpande. So, first, we will know a little about the author. Shashi Deshpande is one of the most significant voices in Indian English literature, especially known for her exploration of women's inner lives, marriage, patriarchy, and psychological conflict. What she used to do is that she used to write more on the women life, that how a woman has been become a subject of patriarchy and a psychological conflict a women had to face in their life. So she used to write on that. She born in the year 1938 in Karnataka. She studied economics, law, and journalism. Literary position: post independence Indian English novelist. She has been awarded Sahitya Academy Award in the year 1990 for that long silence. Is very important point. You need to mark it and you need to remember it that she won Sahitya Academy Award in the year 1990, and the novel for which she won the award was that long silence, right? And the theme that she used to depict in her novels are female identity, silence, marital oppression, and patriarchy, and emotional trauma that a women go through in their life, right? Unlike radical feminism, Deshpande focuses on middle class Indian women and their internal struggles rather than an open rebellion. Right, that how a woman used to struggle and without even telling it to anybody, because a woman has been told that this is your duty, you need to face it without you can go for the rebellion, right? Now come with the novel. The Dark Holds No Terrors. It published in the year 1980. The genre is psychological novel, feminist fiction. The setting is Indian middle class society. Narrative technique is a stream of consciousness and the flashbacks. A stream of consciousness has been widely used by the protagonist of the novel, that how when she returned back to her home, that how she instantly recalls all the memories that she had in the home when she returned there for after 15 years, right? Central concern of this novel is fear, silence, marriage, and female autonomy. The title suggests that darkness is less frightening than the false security of social rules. Detailed summary of the dark hole. So now we are going to cover that. So first we will do the introduction to Sarita. Sarita, which is commonly known as Saru in this novel. The novel revolves around Sarita, which is known as a Saru, a successful doctor who returns to her parental home after a long gap following the death of her mother. So she returns to her home after 15 years when her mother got died. So she returns there. So when she returned there, all of her past memories just come into her mind, like the past traumas, past memories, and her marital life. The narrative moves between present reality and the past recollections, revealing Saru's psychological state. The second is childhood trauma and gender discrimination. So what happened is that when Saru grows up in a deeply patriarchal household where her mother openly favors her brother Dhruva. She had a brother, and her mother made her very dominated, and her mother labeled her as a burden, and it has been set in her mind that I am like a burden, and more importance has been given to her brother instead of her by her own mother. And Saru is constantly reminded that she is burden. Her dark complexion becomes a reason for humiliation. Means she had a dark complexion, and because of that, people used to humiliate her. That you are not beautiful, you don't have the fair skin. And her mother repeatedly tells her that being women means suffering, and later on we will get to know that how being a woman means suffering according to her mother, right? A turning point occurs when Dhruva drowns and Saru indirectly feels responsible. So what happened is that Dhruva died because of drowning, and Saru directly feels responsible, and mother blames her silently, creating lifelong guilt and fear that you are the reason that why your brother got died, right? So her mother is the one who labeled her as a criminal and who labeled her as a guilty. Right. The emotional neglect shapes Saru's fear of relationship and authority. Means she became very fearful. that I am the reason of my own brother's death. Then what happened is that Saru's education and rebellion. To escape her oppressive home, Saru chooses medical education, a symbol of independence. She thought like, okay, I'll go for the education just because I wanted to escape this oppressive home where I am right now, right? She marries Manohar, known as Mano in the novel, against her mother's wishes because it was a love marriage. The first thing is this, and another thing is that it was an intercaste marriage, and she chooses Manohar against the will of her own mother. It is kind of the act of rebellion. Initially, the marriage appears happy and liberating, as it happens in most of the cases that if you marry somebody, the man behavior initially, like it happens, like in a general, I'm telling it to you that in general it happens that when you marry, initially the man behavior will be totally different to what it becomes after some time. So the same happened with her also, like the Manu behavior initially was very good, but when she got more success than of her own husband, Manu ego suffers a lot. Means it hurted her ego because Saru earns more, gain more societal respect, and Manu feels uncomfortable. And Manu feels like she's earning more, and it hurted him a lot. At night, what happened is that Manu turns violent and sexually abusive. These acts are not openly discussed, reflecting how marital rape and domestic abuse remain silent in society. Because he became very angry that how she could be so successful, and just because in order to face his anger, what he has done out of the anger is that he used to beat her, he used to sexually abuse her, or he used to do the marital rape and the domestic abuse. Then he started, and she remained silent. Why? Because society said that it is kind of the thing that every woman go through and we have to face it silently. Saru lives in constant fear. Day brings confidence, and again, night brings terror. Just because in day she's there in duty, she's busy in her own duty, but night brings terror just because of her own husband. Fear, silence, and identity crisis. Saru never speaks about her suffering. Society normalize marital dominance. She fears being blamed. She internalizes guilt. Her mother's voice continues to haunt her, reinforcing silent. Sorry. The novels powerfully shows how women are conditioned to accept suffering as destiny. So this novel shows that no matter how success you have got, but women are conditioned to accept suffering as destiny, that it is written in your destiny that you have to face it, you have no other option but to face it. At it has been written in your destiny. Return to the parental home, it's kind of the self realization when she returned to a parental home after 15 years. All of the memories suddenly came into her mind, and she recalls all of the memories, like the trauma, the suppressed emotions, her father, her memories, all the things. She begins to understand her mother, realizing her mother herself was a victim of patriarchy. Means she was not only the one that who became the victim of patriarchy, but her mother was also the victim of patriarchy. This phase makes introspective rather than escape, that she tried to escape it, but at the end she had to meet it because it was written in the destiny, and because of the society had already made the norms that you have to face it. Being a woman, you have to face it. Ending and resolution. The novel does not offer a dramatic ending. Saru does not immediately leave or forgive Manu. Instead, she gains more self awareness, recognizes her fear, accepts responsibilities for her choices. The ending is open ended, suggested that real changes begin with self awareness, not rebellion. Because what she used to do is that what she had done initially is that when she chooses her education, she thought that okay, I will choose my education. It is a kind of the rebellion when she choose to marry because of her own love. Uh, because of her own love, she chooses to marry. She thought like it is an act of the rebellion, but later on she realized that no, it is not an act of rebellion. Instead, the act of rebellion is to understand the self awareness, to have that self awareness and recognizing a fear. So the novel ends with this thing. The major theme that has been explored in the novel widely is that fear and silence. Fear dominates Saro's life because from starting to till the end she had the fear, and then she recognized her fear. Silence became both protection and imprisonment. Patriarchy has vividly depicted in this novel. Female identity, marriage as a site of power, title significant. The dark holds no terror implies that darkness truth is less frightening. False safety of silence is more dangerous. So this is the end of this novel, which ends with the self-realization instead of the escape, that we cannot escape from the reality. However, what we can do is that we can gain more self-awareness, we can be more conscious about our own choices, we can know what major fear we have. So the novel ends with this thing. Thank you.